Tonight I am going to the soft opening of Broken Cup Tea House, which is a new tea room opening up in Cambridge, like the Kendall Square area. Yin is the owner and she's super cool and like is super knowledgeable about tea. I've taken a tea workshop with her in the past and have like learned so much about different types of tea, how it's produced, how to enjoy it. And I've also purchased teas from her in the past and they're just like very high quality. So yeah, I'm going to go to that with Sam and Ben.
Mirror attack. Because I can't put any ceiling because of the mat. It's so nice. I just like it sit in my mouth.
I'm hosting a barbecue tomorrow for my friends and it's like tropical pirate themed. I'm gonna be making some jerk marinated tofu. So I'm gonna make the marinade, get the tofu in there and put it in the fridge overnight. That way tomorrow I just have to grill it. And then my corn is already shucked. I probably just need to like cut up the peppers. And tomorrow I'll be making some coleslaw. I feel like overnight might be too long for the coleslaw to be sitting. And I'm also gonna be making a pineapple upside down cake, but I think I might make that tomorrow morning as well. I was browsing the library cookbook section when I was getting ready for this barbecue just to like see what I could make, and I ended up getting this cookbook called Jerk from Jamaica by Helen Walensky. And it's mostly meat barbecue, obviously. But I'm gonna be using her recipe for jerk marinade. Oh. I really like to use like an extra firm tofu. This one's from Trader Joe's on the grill because I just find it stays together a little easier and I don't have to press it beforehand. Hello. I'm gonna be going to the Central Copley Square Library today for their reading wrap-up party, and I have a ton of books. Some of them are overdue that I need to return, but I thought I would show you what I'm returning. First thing is this cookbook that I've been absolutely obsessed with. If you've talked to me recently, chances are I've brought up Snacking Cakes by Yossi Arefi. I love this book. Basically, it's an entire cookbook of single layer cakes, and I've been wanting to get into cake baking more, but it's just like really intimidating because making a layer cake is such a process. Like there's so many different components. It uses so many different like skills and uses so much of your time and effort, and also it's just not practical for me as like one person to be baking layer cakes like that, because what am I gonna do with them? Like, I can't eat an entire layer cake. Whereas a snacking cake is like much more accessible. And yeah, I feel like there's just so many varieties of flavors in this book that she just like genuinely covers everything from like chocolatey cakes to fruit cakes, to like spiced cakes. My favorite recipe personally was the spiced pineapple cake. I made this recipe 3 times in the last like 2 months because it's just so delicious and beautiful, but for the impact, it's like fairly minimal effort. Yeah, so highly recommend if you're looking for a cake cookbook to check out this one. For my barbecue that I had, I wanted to do like tropical flavors and I wasn't exactly sure what. So I was just looking through the cookbook section at the library and got Jerk from Jamaica by Helen Walensky. I didn't use many of the recipes in here, but I did use the jerk marinade recipe to make my jerk tofu, and it was pretty delicious. I checked this book out a while ago and I just haven't gotten around to reading it, so I'm gonna return it and then maybe check it out again another time. This is Oblivion by Hector Abad. Hector Abad's father was killed for his political views in Colombia, and this is a memoir that he wrote kind of like for his father. And I heard about this while I was watching Parts Unknown, Anthony Bourdain's show recently, and he interviewed Hector Abad, and they mentioned this memoir, and I thought that sounded really interesting. And I'm still interested in reading it. It's just, you know, I can't keep a library book for forever, so I'm gonna return it and then I can just check it out again when I'm ready to read it. Yeah, again, I didn't have a chance to read this. This is Reservoir Bitches by Dalia de la Cerda. Didn't have a chance to read it before it was due, and there's other people waiting for this on their hold, so I'm gonna return it and again check it out another time when I'm ready to read it. I tried one recipe from here. I honestly just like to check out cookbooks sometimes to just flip through them, even if I don't end up making a lot of stuff from them. It's just fun to look through cookbooks for me. And then the last thing that I'm returning is Hot Girls with Balls. That's upside down. Hot Girls with Balls by Benedict Nguyen. I finished this, and I'll be talking about this in my summer reading wrap-up, so stay tuned for that. Random, but they were in the same bag, so I wanted to show you. But basically, the library, the Boston Public Library system, is no longer purchasing CDs for their collection. So in fact, they're like phasing out their CD collection. So at my branch, the librarian was just like, take whatever CDs you want because they're all gonna get donated. So I looked through and picked out a couple good ones. We've got A Charlie Brown Christmas, classic, seasonal. This is Best of Talking Heads. It just has a bunch of their hit songs, all on one CD. I've got Tell Me I'm Pretty by Cage the Elephant. I feel like this was a pretty defining album for like my first year of college. It just really brings me back. I've got 7 by Beach House, which is a pretty solid Beach House album. This is like a really good nighttime album. Do people still listen to Coldplay in like an unironic way? I really like this album. And then I've never heard of this, but it just sounded intriguing. This is the Afro-Haitian Experimental Orchestra no clue what this is gonna be like, but I was like, it's free, might as well give it a try. I did used to collect CDs more when I had a CD player in my car, but I do have a like Blu-ray player hooked up to my speaker and hooked up to my TV and speakers that can also play CDs. So I haven't really done a reading update in a second. I had a couple books that were just kind of like slogs to get through for me. And I think that can be kind of discouraging, but I think I'm like hitting my stride again. I just finished the audiobook for Compound Fracture by, I think the author's name is Andrew Joseph White. Whenever I want to read like a more plot driven book, it's just fun to like try the audiobook because it really does like suck you in. So yeah, I finished that. Absolutely bonkers. And then I also started reading Small Boat by Vincent Lacroix. I started it yesterday and I like it so far. Like, I think the perspective is really interesting. This book is about a Coast Guard officer who is on duty while this dinghy with I think like 27 passengers is trying to get across the English Channel from France to England, and they call the Coast Guard for help and end up drowning. And now that Coast Guard officer is kind of like under investigation, like what happened, why didn't she call for help, yeah, just in like how she handled that situation. And yeah, having it from the perspective of the woman who took their calls of distress is pretty interesting and honestly kind of hard to read. Like, it's kind of hard to read someone justifying their actions when 27 people called her for help and ended up drowning. And then the other book that I started last night is on audiobook. It's called Murder Under Her Skin, and it's the second book in the Pentecost and Parker detective novel series. I buddy read the first book with my friend Susan either like earlier this year or late last year, and it's just like a really fun detective series. The main characters are Lillian Pentecost, who's this like super badass female detective who's like really good at her job, and like she means business and she's serious about bringing bad people to justice. And then her kind of like partner slash sidekick, Will Parker, who is like chaotic bisexual, who was grew up in the circus and is like multi-talented, and just like really spunky and like funny and fun to follow as like our protagonist. Yeah, it's a really fun setting. It takes place in like the 40s or 50s, so it kind of has that like film noir detective feel. And yeah, I'm listening to the audiobook for this one, and so far it's been a good experience. So yeah, that's kind of what I have as my like fun book, and then my more like thought-provoking book here. So